I know that the vast majority of you are going to go see Shang-Chi this weekend, and I'm going tomorrow, so I'm joining y'all as well, and I'll have my review up tomorrow night. But there's another movie in theaters now that I want y'all to go check out. I've been wanting to check this movie out for a while, but I just haven't been able to squeeze it into my schedule. Plus, I've had a crazy last couple of weeks. It's called The Night House. It's directed by David Bruckner, and I have been told by a lot of my like hardcore movie friends, that this is a great, great, great movie. David Bruckner is a guy who I'm not super familiar with, but the one thing he did do that I've seen is VHS, the original VHS from 2012. So he does kind of know how to capture that, how to capture the audience with supernatural horror. Now, this movie, The Night House, is kind of a combination supernatural horror slash suspense thriller because this movie's very, very psychological. If you like psychological thrillers, this is a movie you need to add to your playlist as soon as possible. And I mean, it's probably best if you do go see it in theaters, if you have the time. I know sometimes I'll tell you guys, oh, wait for streaming, and you could do that, but I think that this movie really should be seen in theaters to get the full sort of effect. This movie's had a lot of hype for a while. It was a Sundance movie back in 2020, and finally it came out here in theaters after the pandemic and whatnot. And I'm telling you right off the hop, this movie is way, way better than Candyman. If you're gonna go see a movie in the movie theater that's a horror movie, this is the one that you want to go see. Rebecca Hall plays Beth. She is the star of the film, has to carry the film. And Beth, she's a widow. Her husband Owen just committed suicide. And he basically went on a boat they have this home, this night house by a lake. He took the boat out and shot himself with a gun on the boat. And the movie tackles the concept of dealing with the death of a spouse and with the death of somebody who you love. And as the film progresses, we start to see some very bizarre things happen to Beth in the home. Weird dreams she's having. She's having strange visions. She discovers some weird things, and it leads her on this journey to discover that Owen had a very, very, very strange and mysterious past, and she has to unravel his past to figure out what is really going on and what secrets he kept from her. It really makes you think about your spouse or your ex or whatever and what they were keeping from you. This movie tackles that really well. There's a lot of scenes where Beth is by herself. Rebecca Hall, has to basically act without anybody there, and she does a fantastic job, by the way, but she begins to discover that there were a lot of things that Owen was doing before he died that he never told her about. And things get really creepy really fast. The movie is a slow burn, but it did not bore me because they managed to pace it relatively well. It's about an hour and 45, 48 minutes, something like that. And we see Beth sort of discovering things about Owen through his phone, through books that he had. He had a very dark past, and things get real scary real fast. The thing about the movie is there's only about one or two jump scares. That's not what this film does right. What I think the movie does right is it really captures the idea of you just lost your spouse, and is your spouse really who they said they were? Is your spouse, your ex, whatever, are they really who they claim that they were? Something that I've personally dealt with in my life. I've never had a spouse commit suicide or even like an ex-girlfriend, thankfully. But even if you haven't, it still kind of brings about that sort of anxiety of what could be going on. There's some really great scenes here too that kind of copy, or not copy, that's the wrong word, but kind of showcase some of the things you deal with when you lose somebody close to you. There's a scene where Beth has to take all of his things and put them in a box that were all around the house. And that's hard because if you've ever lost somebody before, you know how hard that is. You know it's for the best, but doing it is very painful. and we kind of see her interacting with her friends and not really sure what to say, kind of trying to laugh off the pain that she's trying to hide. Tremendous acting in this movie. And then as the movie progresses, I really don't want to spoil it, Gil, because it's one of those films that you need to go in dark. You don't want to know much about this movie. You want to go in and be as spoiler free as possible, because things do unravel in a very interesting way. Like if you enjoy movies like, for example, Hereditary, if you like that film, if you like movies like Secret Window, those kinds of like psychological horror with a little bit of supernatural elements in it, it's kind of a combination of both. You definitely don't want to miss Night House. I mean, you really don't. The cinematography in this film from Alicia Christian, the way the home is, the way that things sort of like the lake scenes, everything looks very good, very real, and it brings us into that world. It's just a very well made movie. And it's also one of those movies where you think you know what's going on, and then the movie just flips on you. So it's pretty damn, there's some pretty terrifying stuff in this movie. Don't take kids to this thing, man. They're going to be shrieking at some of this stuff. But it was a great, great movie. Go see this film. Great date movie, great horror film, great psychological thriller. Do not skip out on The Night House. Trust me on this one. Huge thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.